Hey guys, welcome back. It's Kneon. This is CLOWNFISH TV. We're going to talk about Cartoon Network, Rooster Teeth, Adult Swim, and how AT&T is cutting the fat in this case. And this is no offense to her, but Christina Miller is stepping down as president of WarnerMedia's Cartoon Network. I do not believe this was her decision to do so. They always try to put a positive spin on things when people exit, but we know that WarnerMedia, AT&T, has been cutting like crazy over the past year. They've been trimming down different companies, different divisions, staffers, laying people off, consolidating companies, especially in the in animation and online content. And Christina Miller, who is somewhat controversial, she's a somewhat controversial figure, as a lot of people blame her specifically for the downward trend that Cartoon Network has seen itself in over the last couple of years. Although there have been a few bright spots, admittedly, there have been a few bright spots. So we're going to talk about Christina Miller getting gone from Cartoon Network and what this means kind of in the overall scheme of things with WarnerMedia. From where we're sitting, it looks like everything is going to be plowed into HBO Max, and this is just part of that plan. Eventually, all of these studios may consolidate. All these animation studios may consolidate, for better or for worse. So before we get into the video, please subscribe if you guys have not subscribed already. We're at about 78,000 subs, hoping for 100,000 soon. We do cover pop culture news. We give our views and opinions on pop culture. That includes everything. That includes movies, animation, comics, anime, whatever it is we're interested in that day. And one thing we've been following pretty closely is the streaming wars, because this basically is the future of pop culture, and we do have a fondness for cartoons and anime, so we have been watching Cartoon Network, we've been watching Crunchyroll, we've been watching Funimation, we've been watching Rooster Teeth, and this news, actually I have to give a shout out to Becky Womack, who is a longtime viewer of CLOWNFISH TV. Thank you so much, Becky, for the hat tip. I totally missed this. The news broke this morning, but Christina Miller is stepping down as president of WarnerMedia's Cartoon Network. After 15 years with the company, Christina Miller, president of WarnerMedia's Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Boomerang, and TCM, announced today that she would be leaving at the end of the year. That's kind of quick. A lot of times they announce they're going to leave, next year or something like that, and they have sort of a plan of succession in place. This is like, yeah, she's leaving in a month. I'm telling you, she got ousted. Michael Wowleen, is that him? EVP, Chief Marketing Officer of Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and Boomerang, will serve as the interim president. The interim president. That sounds to me like she is out the door, and they haven't even bothered finding a replacement for her yet. And I think that there's more to it than just Christina Miller getting gone. I think this is about the consolidation of all of the Warner animation studios. This is not a decision I came to lightly, said Miller. It's one of the hardest I've had to make in my career. Ultimately, it feels like the right time for me to leave and take a little time to think about what comes next, but I do so feeling immensely proud of the work we've done together, and I'm so grateful for the experience. This marks the latest top-level executive departure at a WarnerMedia network following the completion of AT&T's acquisition of Time Warner, which triggered a major executive restructuring. Yeah, in Rooster Teeth, we're going to talk about that too. According to sources, Miller was asked to stay on by the new WarnerMedia leadership, but opted to leave. Did she? According to sources, I don't know. This looks like she's been ousted. But who knows? Who knows what's going on? Or it could be like, you get to stay, but you're living on borrowed time, or you get to stay, but we're cutting back on your duties. You're not going to have as much say as you used to. And she's like, yeah, screw that, I'm out the door. Christina has been a respected and impactful leader since she joined the company, said Anna Sarnoff, chair and CEO of Warner Brothers. We wish her the best of luck in the next chapter of her career. They're being nicey nice. Miller has led the kids and young adult division for the last 5 years, where she was responsible for all aspects of the business, including global oversight of content development and production and franchise management. Her leadership extended to overseeing the premium video subscription service, which is not doing that well and is probably going to be rolled into HBO Max. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Boomerang. Yeah, I don't think Boomerang's doing so hot. I think they're going to throw all the Boomerang content onto HBO Max. She most recently was given responsibility of TCM. Adult Swim continues to be the #1 network with young adults, along with the success of award-winning shows like Adventure Time, Rick and Morty, Adventure Time, which is getting a new season, and on HBO Max, and Rick and Morty, which has been locked down for HBO Max. Steven Universe and global franchises like Powerpuff Girls did not need that reboot, Christina. We didn't need it. Ben 10 did not need that reboot, Christina. Miller has also gained a reputation as a thought leader on the topic of how to inspire kids to be the next generation of creators and innovators. And for the inspirational campaign, Stop Bullying, Speak Up, in partnerships with Dove, which have given kids the tools and resources needed for confidence and self-expression in their daily lives. So they talk a little bit about her history. Now, Christina Miller has been very controversial and with cartoon fans, especially longtime fans of Cartoon Network, because there has been a change in the network over the last couple of years under her tenure. In fact, she's got her own terrible TV shows wiki entry here, and they cite some of the grievances. And it doesn't take long to go out to YouTube and just just look for Christina Miller videos. There are a lot of them by channels that cover cartoons, talking about how Cartoon Network has basically, in their opinion, shit the bed since Christina Miller has come on board. And that is, of course, subject to personal opinion. But here are the bad qualities they list. They said many acquired series from other companies that the network had left because they lost the rights. Most notably, Pokemon anime, the Pokemon anime adaptation of the Pokemon Company and Nintendo, which aired on Cartoon Network for 10 years. In 2017, it was moved to Disney XD due to poor ratings. Conversely, Pokemon is thriving on Disney XD. Number 2, made Cartoon Network go downhill again from 2016 to 2017. Please explain. That doesn't make sense to me. Until September 2018, Teen Titans Go aired for long periods of time. Reruns of older episodes from Adventure Time, regular show, and Steven Universe hardly aired as much anymore. That is true. It seemed like it was very hard to find other shows other than, a lot of people joked it was the Teen Titans Go channel, but she probably, to be fair, was probably under pressure to bring in ad revenue, and parents were probably just plopping their kids in front of the TV to watch Teen Titans Go. I didn't realize it was this dire, though. In 2017, from Christmas Eve to New Year's, it was the only thing that aired outside of Adult Swim, aside from 2 Steven Universe specials, Teen Titans Go. Made the Boomerang TV channel air the same promos, bumpers, IDs, movies, and shorts all over again since 2017. Boomerang used to do that, though. Boomerang, I miss old Boomerang. I really do. I miss old Boomerang with all of the little bumpers, and they were really, really clever, the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and I loved it. I watched Boomerang a lot of times just for those classic bumpers, and I don't think they're running them anymore. I haven't really watched Boomerang much, but the Care Bear show did not save Boomerang. Her job as president of the network went downhill. Please explain. I don't know. But May pitch shows that received widespread acclaim were denied in favor of shows that appeal to younger audiences in order to avoid controversy. Her reasoning is very hypocritical stupid. Obviously, this is a reliable news source because following shows airing on the Cartoon Network, such as Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff, etc., did receive controversy from parents and normal viewers too. But they do cite some of the good stuff she did. She greenlit OKKO, We Bare Bears, Mighty Magiswords, Apple and Onions, debatable. Craig of the Creek, haven't watched enough of it, and Summer Camp Island's not a huge fan. Infinity Train is pretty cool. So she did greenlight some good shows. She is controversial, though. A lot of people don't like her. They blame her for the downward spiral that Cartoon Network has taken. So I think there's more to it than that. I don't think she left because it's like, golly, YouTubers don't like me. I'm going to quit my cushy six-figure job and go do something else. I think it has everything to do with HBO Max. I think HBO Max is coming. I think budgets are getting cut, and I think they're going to consolidate all of the animation studios, kind of like they did with Fullscreen and Machinima, where they basically just rolled it all into one thing. Everything we've been hearing from animation industry insiders, trademark, copyright, etc., points to the fact that HBO thinks they have way too many animation companies, and they're going to strengthen the brands by just kind of folding everything into everything else. And I think we're going to see a lot of changes with Cartoon Network and Crunchyroll. In fact, as I understand it, what's the term from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? Shitting bricks. As I understand it, pretty much everybody working in every division that deals with animation in Warner Brothers right now is shitting bricks. That is my understanding. We've talked to people from Rooster Teeth. We've talked to people from Warner Brothers. We've talked to people associated with those companies. And there is a state of panic going on right now. There's a state of flux. Nobody seems to know what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. Clearly, HBO Max, all this content is being produced for HBO Max right now. They are bringing back Adventure Time, which is incredibly surprising, with 4 specials from Cartoon Network Studios. Is it possible that Cartoon Network might just be running reruns of what debuts first on HBO Max. I think it's probably going to happen. I think it's going to happen because we're seeing this with Genlock, right? Rooster Teeth, and we're going to talk, that's a whole nother ball of wax. We're going to talk about Rooster Teeth and all the drama about Rooster Teeth. But Rooster Teeth, you know, they had Rooster Teeth first, which is, you know, supposed to be kind of like, I guess, their version, their subscription service, their version of like Patreon, where backers, subscribers get content first. They're not now. They're getting sloppy seconds because HBO Max is picking up the tab for Genlock Season 2. So HBO Max gets Genlock first, then it goes to Rooster Teeth first, and then it goes to Adult Swim. So Cartoon Network might wind up just being getting the leftovers. Like all the content, all the new content, I think is going to debut on HBO Max first. And that includes content from Rooster Teeth. That includes content from Cartoon Network. That includes content from Crunchyroll and Ellation. It's all going to go to HBO Max first because they want to be the Disney Plus killer. And you know what? Looking at their lineup, for animation fans, I think HBO Max is going to be it. I mean, they're getting the Ghibli library. They've got access to everything Cartoon Network's ever done. Hanna-Barbera, Warner Brothers, all the Rooster Teeth content. They've got Crunchyroll content coming. I think if you're an animation fan, HBO Max is absolutely going to be the streaming service. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, so Rooster Teeth, since we're talking about it, there's been a lot of drama about Rooster Teeth lately. You know, they're not doing well financially. They had to cut 13% of their staff. They laid off about 50 people. We had Rooster Teeth, former Rooster Teeth employees, current Rooster Teeth employees actually coming to us too and telling us it was a lot worse than they were letting on. And in fact, a lot of the blame was laid at the feet of Genlock because it was so expensive to produce, partly because of the voice cast being so expensive. It's just a very, very expensive show. So with Rooster Teeth not doing well, obviously the future of this show was up in the air. So now HBO steps in and says, yeah, we'll bankroll a second season, but it's coming to HBO first. But I mean, Rooster Teeth needs some good news, man. We did not cover this in a separate video because I did not think it was something I really wanted to go into detail covering in a separate video. But if you go out there looking for news on Rooster Teeth, this is what you see. Rooster Teeth exec charged in brutal domestic violence incident. And this is on top of layoffs. This is on top of the drama earlier in the year with Vic Mignogna. I mean, Rooster Teeth has had a very, very bad year in terms of PR. And it's sad because this whole thing is burying the good that they've done, helping Austin kids in need, all of this. So, but yeah, Rooster Teeth came out and said that Michael Quinn, the VP of Product and Engineering, is no longer at the company. Very, very bad news. But, you know, I mean, can't really blame Rooster Teeth for that. That is an individual behaving like an individual. But it is bad press for the company. So what I think is probably going to happen eventually is Rooster Teeth is just going to be a studio, possibly part of Cartoon Network Studios, that just creates content for HBO Max, and eventually they dump it onto Cartoon Network. And I think the person that they might be looking at to take over Cartoon Networks might be somebody who's going to come in and basically run all of animation under Warner. That would not surprise me at all, because as I understand it, Warner is currently more about Cartoon Network, the brand, than they are about Cartoon Network, the network. They're about the Cartoon Network brand for content, brand for marketing, for selling toys, merchandise, theme parks, etc., etc. That is my understanding of what's going on. So what I have heard is that, you know, it's very possible Rooster Teeth will just be folded into Cartoon Network Studios and will be an arm of Cartoon Network Studios, or the Rooster Teeth name could possibly disappear altogether, and Cartoon Network just makes Genlock and Ruby and whatever else that they're doing. Right now, Rooster Teeth is doing some weird stuff where they're trying to do a bunch of live action shows. I don't know. But this might also explain where High Guardian Spice went, because High Guardian Spice is a Crunchyroll thing. It's an original show for Crunchyroll, and we know it's done. We've done a video on it that the showrunner came out and said that, yeah, it's done. Ray Rodriguez, I think is his name, came out and said that it's done, but they don't know when it's going to air. I think it's probably going to air on HBO Max first. That would not surprise me, but it's done. Like, they're not doing any more. They've already disbanded the people working on the show. We don't know how long it is, but it does exist. People came to us and said they've seen the pilot already. They actually said the pilot wasn't too bad. So the pilot was okay. I mean, if you go into it expecting a Steven Universe, Little Witch Academia type thing, that's exactly what you're going to get. But I think HBO is banking all this content so they have it on launch day. The same could be said of Thundercats Roar. Nobody seems to know where Thundercats Roar is. I can almost guarantee you it's going to come to HBO Max on launch day or close to it. I don't think we're safe from Thundercats Roar. I think they're very far along into it. They've already spent the money on it. They're going to dump it on the HBO Max. And then at that point, ratings don't matter because these companies, these streaming services do not share the ratings with people. They usually don't share the downloads. It's up to third parties to figure it out, or they might put a press release out and brag about it. But for the most part, they don't talk about the ratings specifically. So we'll never know if Thundercats Roar is a hit or not. But yeah, the Great Conjunction is happening. And I think it's going to be, if you're working for Cartoon Network or you're working for Rooster Teeth, it probably is very scary to be there right now because nobody seems to know. Crunchyroll, again, Crunchyroll, we don't know what's going on with that. They're kind of shunting their Crunchyroll Expo off onto Reed Pop. Reed Pop is going to take over the Crunchyroll Expo. I guess. I don't think they own it, but they're going to run it. And I've heard that they're going to start making cuts to social media people too. It's AT&T they're brutal penny pinchers. They're absolutely brutal penny pinchers. Everyone I've talked to said that they are looking to cut, and there are no sacred cows. And, are we going to see a day where Cartoon Network doesn't exist anymore? Will there come a time when Cartoon Network is just a brand of content on HBO Max on the streaming service? I think it's coming pretty soon. So Christina Miller out the door. Definitely some changes. We'll talk later. Thinking about printing your own comic books, graphic novel, or manga? We recommend our friends over at PrintNinja. We've been using PrintNinja as long as they've been printing comics, and both the quality and price is excellent. Mention Clownfish TV and get an additional 5% overrun of your book order quantity printed for free. That's free books, people. Just mention this offer on the phone or in the additional information box on the quote request form. That's printninja.com, or click on the link in the description below. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.